Okay, so I'm going to start in 1 minute. But like I said, I'll be quiet for a little bit. I'm not going to start right away just to let people log on. I'm going to start. Good afternoon. I'm Bree Barisell, the manager of data and market intelligence here at ASA, and I would like to welcome you to our special webinar hosted by ATS Software Beyond ChatGPT. Graham will join us here in just a moment. ASA would like to thank its 60 plus supplier partners for their continued support of all we do here at ASA. Without the support, many of the programs and services ASA offers would not be possible. The same goes for our 50 plus sustaining supplier partners. These ASA member reps have gone above and beyond in their support of ASA. Thank you. ASA Association partners are also a big part of the ASA family. Shout out to the Federated Insurance, Dell Technologies, and Rep Fabric. Ace Apparel is a paramount choice for ASA member firms in search of apparel, catering to all attire needs, ranging from warehouse essentials to boardroom elegance and everything in between. All ASA members that place an order will receive free embroidery on their first order. Any questions, you can email Mike Mayaska. And some save the dates for 2025. Get your calendars out. There's a QR code on each slide that will take you right to the registration page. Elevate 2025 is in Miami, Florida, April 22nd through the 24th. This dynamic conference offers women opportunities to connect, learn from keynote speakers and industry leaders, and gather valuable insights to boost their careers and personal growth. ASA's West Summit is in Napa, California, May 7th through the 9th. This summit will provide a forum for education, peer networking, sharing best practices, and will connect industry professionals throughout the Western region to promoting excellence in leadership and member success. Emerge 2025 is in Las Vegas, Nevada, May 13th through the 15th. Here, you will build key relationships with the next generation of industry leaders and discover efficient practices during the best practice roundtables. You'll be inspired by impressive lineups of speakers and gain insights from a panel of experts, including a builder, contractor, designer, and engineer. Plus, with fun networking events throughout the conference, you'll have plenty of opportunities to connect and engage with fellow professionals. ASA's Northeast Summit is in Annapolis, Maryland, June 11th through the 13th, where you'll have the opportunity to connect with the next wave of industry trailblazers and uncover savvy strategies. You'll have plenty of chances to mingle, share ideas, and spark new collaborations here. And lastly, ASA Central Summit is in Arlington, Texas, June 18th through the 19th. This event offers 2 days of education, best practices, and networking opportunities with PHCP, PVF colleagues. ASA is inviting more than 75 distributed companies within the region. And here's my contact information for any questions you may have. And if you do have a question for Graham during today's webinar, you can ask by using the Q&A function within your Zoom toolbar. And with that, I will hand it over to Graham. Good morning, Graham.
Good morning. Thank you, Bree. Just want to make sure everybody can see my screen okay. Call me crazy, but I would love to go to that Napa event. I'm sure the education will be getting increasingly better near the end of the event as more and more bottles of wine are consumed. But then maybe that's just me. Looking forward to having a conversation with you folks today. We're going to talk about ChatGPT a little bit. We're going to go beyond ChatGPT. We're going to talk about some of the things that automate your day And just as a point of reference, today I have used ChatGPT and other forms of AI. It is 2 o'clock Eastern for me. I've used it probably about 8 times today for various things, maybe a little bit more than usual because of preparation for this event, but 4 to 5 times a day. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that you could make use of as well to help move things along and get some advantage from AI. Please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. That is my linkedin.com/in/nextgenai. You can also just search for my name, and I'd be happy to chat with you there, because we're going to go pretty fast today. And we're going to focus exclusively on, in terms of large language models, we're going to focus exclusively on ChatGPT. There are unique characteristics in some of those other models out there, but those will be covered in either a part 2 next quarter, or reach out to me on LinkedIn and happy to chat with you. Obviously, something like DeepSeek that you see there in the bottom right has hit the news in the last couple of days. There are unique characteristics in each one of these. They all fit into a market. To me, it matters, but I'll be honest, the application of AI in your daily use tools are more important than what large language model you're using behind it. Let's dive in. As you get started, I would like to recommend that as you look at further adoption of AI in 2025, and by further adoption, I'm going on the basis that I have talked to a number of folks who have said, yeah, I mean, ChatGPT is over 2 years old now. They are testing certain things. They are trying to adopt it in certain ways, and that's great. It's only going to accelerate, and based on what I believe, there are 4 things that will help you build a foundation for taking advantage of that acceleration. First thing, as it regards to ChatGPT, if you choose to use ChatGPT as your core model, I recommend buying the Team Edition. The free edition is great to test it. The Team Edition does a couple of things really well. It does not use your data to train OpenAI's models, so they're a little more private. Your data is much more private. It's not that expensive, and you can share chats amongst your team. The results themselves, though, they are faster, and I don't know if OpenAI has put some limiters on the free version, but I've noticed a dramatic impact in the results of what you get back from the free edition versus either the plus or the plus version. You can't stop it, OpenAI, from using your data. You have to go to the Team Edition to do that. There's one edition above that. I think it's called Pro. It's $200 a month. There's some advantages there. Feel free to look at their website. Start building a knowledge base. It is not unique to AI to be able to collect your information about your organization and organize it. The advantage that AI brings is that now you can use tools to, you don't have to structure your data. You can use AI tools to access information that's maybe still a little bit helter-skelter or disconnected or not all in the same platform, or it's the beauty is you can start doing frequently asked questions. You can do employee onboarding chats. You can do internal chats, external chats. All of your data, start collecting it, putting it into either, if you're on Microsoft or Google or whatever database you use, start collecting those things and putting them into logical folders. And then I'll show you how one tool, you can point that tool towards it, and it will give you an unbelievable amount of benefit in terms of just being able to chat with all this unstructured data. There's so much benefit to that. These get increasingly more sophisticated. And number 3 is, if you don't have internal expertise to use some of the APIs that OpenAI has, get some help on that, because when you start integrating that with software you already use, your ERP, your CRM, your inventory management, your warehouse management, you're going to notice that it brings additional advantage. And last but certainly not least is AI is just the intelligence. You need to integrate that now into the work that you do before you use AI and after you use AI. And that's what I call automation. And so there are a myriad of tools I am familiar with and would heartily endorse. Relay app, Make.com, Zapier, there are others. But those things, getting to know those things, if you don't have the internal resources, hire someone who can do that, and you will benefit greatly by getting repetitive tasks more easily managed and getting you away from sort of tactical things and getting into more important decisions based on the analytics that AI can give you. So let's jump in a little bit. First, I want to tell you how we're gonna break up ChatGPT. I believe there's 3 layers, 3 levels. First one is basic. That involves things like web search, accessing content from various folders, things like summarizing text, helping you write things, helping you brainstorm, and even the live voice feature over on the far right. Then there's things like analyzing data that I would call more intermediate. It's not difficult, it's just a little more sophisticated. It can read CSV files, Excel files, it can give you answers back. We're gonna demonstrate that a little bit. And then there's this little toolbar that looks like a toy box in there that is advanced. There's a number of features in there. We're gonna spend a little bit of time on how to get the most benefit from some of the advanced features. For those of you, by the way, who maybe logged into ChatGPT 2 years ago or even a year ago, almost none of these things existed. It has come a long way, and it is by far not done. They just released an orchestration model, which we're not going to talk about today, but it is all these things are advancing. They're trying to bring the functionality to automate your day. What I teach you and what we talk about today will be maybe not out of date, but it will be superseded within months, if not, weeks. Not everything, but that's how fast this is moving. So don't feel bad if you haven't spent a lot of time trying to keep up with this industry. We're going to give you some quick things that you can make use of right away. So again, I'm going to touch on a bunch of things. If some of them catch your eye, please take a quick note or chat the question in the Q&A or reach out to me afterwards. We don't have time, unfortunately, to stop and pause on some of the items. We've got a lot to cover. I want to try and get you a lot of value here. So here we go. I'm going to cover a bunch of these things. My ChatGPT, or here it is. So let's go and say, let's talk about some of the basics. So if I go in here, if you haven't connected your Google Drive or your Microsoft OneDrive, and I just want to make sure you guys are seeing my screen okay. I think you are. Please raise your hand if not. Then I would highly recommend you do that. Of course, you can upload documents from your computer, but I'm just going to go in here. I've connected to my OneDrive account. I'm going to pull up a document, this document right here, which is it's just a water heater owner's manual, and I'm going to ask it a question. So I'm going to say, I need to know how to test the blower for this water heater. And again, this is basic, so some of you will be very familiar with the capabilities here, but it reads the document and it's going to look for the answer to my question and give me a result. And then I'm going to interact with this a little bit to show you some of the other basic features. So, oh, warning, it's electrical. Here's step 1. So it found all this information on page 20. So I could click on here, it would take me to the document because it has a copy of it. I'm going to avoid that just for the moment. It's not the purpose of today is not to learn about that. Purpose of today is then to interact with that. So um, I could ask it additional questions, or I could even do something like, you see this read aloud function? I love this. If you haven't used it, particularly on your mobile phone, it is absolutely fantastic. So let me just push this, and you'll notice it
To
starts.
test the blower for your Bradford White TTW series water heater, follow the blower testing and replacement procedure outlined in the service manual, starting on page 20, 5 source. Warning, 150 volt.
So I'm not going to read through, I'm not going to let it talk through the whole thing, but you will find that absolutely fantastic. Usually when I drive between appointments, if I have a question, I will ask ChatGPT using the voice functionality, either Siri or I'm on Android on my phone, and then I will get it to read the answer back to me so that I'm not reading my screen while I'm driving. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, let's jump into web search. Why is web search here? Why I thought, well, doesn't it search the web? In some cases, ChatGPT is getting better at searching the web naturally, but it was only trained up to a certain point in time. So if something on the web has been just posted there recently, it's not going to find it. So when you click web search, it will search the entire web. So I'm going to give just a simple example. This probably would have found it without the web search, but hear me out. Can you help me find the spec sheet for the Watts FD450 floor drain? So it's going to search the web. It found it and gives me some information about it. And it even cites the sources. So this is actually relatively new. It's actually fantastic. It tells me what pages it found. And then I could either click on this up here, or it's going to take me to the same place, I believe. This should take me to, oh, that took me to one of their catalogs. But if I go to the citations over here, it's actually going to take me to the spec sheet. And that's what I asked for. So it's just a fantastic way to get information sourced via web search. Okay, let's jump on to a new chat, and I am going to show you the summarize feature. So you see this summarized text. You don't have to click that button. That's just ChatGPT's way to give you some ideas of what's possible. But I've got a document over here called AI for Warehouse Management and Inventory Optimization. I'm just going to copy it, edit. I'm going to select all. I'm going to copy this. It's not terribly long, but it's probably 5 or 6 pages long. And I'm just going to say, please summarize this article from the perspective of an executive who needs to get to the heart of a matter of making a decision on spending money about AI in the warehouse. And then I'm going to hit paste, and you'll notice it. It has all the website headers and footers, and I don't care. I'm just going to hit go. It's going to summarize that entire thing and bring me back the summary from a perspective of. I think that's super important. Some people who I've talked to say, well, it's not really relevant to me. The results aren't relevant. Well, you have to give it something that is relevant to you. You have to tell it what perspective you're looking for. So I could look at something like that. I could read through that. And as it finishes, I'm just going to ask it another quick question, just so you can see the interactivity capabilities of this. And as it finishes out, I'm then going to say something like, this is great, but what sort of skill sets on my team or externally would I need to adopt this technology? I need to budget for that, and I don't really know who to look for. So again, we won't follow through the whole thing, but that's the sort of summarization and relevance concept that I've used. I used that today for numerous things this morning. And it's just super, super helpful to be able to engage with it on that level. Okay, moving on. Let's go to a really cool feature that is, in my opinion, something that I only really use, again, in the car. I would love to hear if you guys have different use cases for this. It's the voice mode. So if you haven't used it, this is cool. Hey, ChatGPT, I have a question.
Not at the moment. How's your day going?
Oh, good. I've got a question. Can you help me? I'm trying to figure out how to get my customers to stop splitting their orders between me and my competitors. I'm a wholesale distributor, and I send out quotes for large construction plumbing projects. And sometimes my competitors cherry pick between me and the other guys. And I got to figure out how to improve that and get that to stop.
One approach might be to emphasize the value you provide beyond just pricing. Offering extended payment terms can be a good start. You could
Oh, there's a task that just popped up. It's right on time. I set this to pop up. There's a whole new feature in here. I'm going to come back to that voice in a second. There's a whole new feature in here, which is a further slide, but because it popped up, they have this really cool new thing called task scheduling. I can chat with ChatGPT and ask me to remind me, and it'll send me a task. And so maybe you saw it pop up in the right-hand corner there. But just back to the voice for a second. It's super convenient to be able to engage like that and have back and forth. The one downfall of that is if you pause for too long, or if you are trying to think of a further conversation point, it kind of gets a little bit lost. So you get to get used to it, but it's a really convenient thing if you just need a quick answer. You don't want to type anything, you just want to chat. Okay, let's go back to the slides. I think we covered most of that. Help me write. Oh, I didn't create a formula for Excel. Give me a moment. I want to show you guys this because it is, if you haven't done this, oh my gosh, it's so helpful if you get lost. I need a simple formula. Can you take a look for a result in cell A1, and if it's true, multiply it by the value in B1, and if it's false, enter false. Can you help me with that formula? I mean, this silly example, you could probably figure that out on your own, but if you get sophisticated formulas, you can ask what it means, you can build them, it's just a great use case for what I would call a basic use of AI. Okay, I think we've covered all that. So let's keep going. Let's review what the basics are. Connecting, summarizing, reading aloud. To me, that's the number one. The winner is reading aloud. It is something I use pretty much every day. I also like the formula management. It's super useful. And I'd love to know, what do you guys prefer? From what you've seen, enter that in the chat. And I think it'd be fun to just have a bit of dialogue, or have you chat with each other about that. Okay, let's move on. Intermediate, analyzing data. Let's get into that for a second. I'm going to quickly go back here to ChatGPT. I'm going to start a new chat. And I got to be quick here. Our time is running short, but I'm going to go in and grab, I just did some fake data for plumbing orders. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say to it, I upload the Excel file, and I'm going to say, hey, can you analyze the contractor performance in this file and review the product trends? I need the result in a chart. I'm sure most of you have seen this sort of capability, but also super convenient to start getting into your data and being able to analyze it quickly. If you've got Excel gurus on your team, ChatGPT does not replace them. It actually enhances their ability and gives you some really unique capabilities. So it took a look at the contractor performance. It gives me a chart, 10 most ordered products, gives me some results. This is a fairly new feature. I can turn this into an interactive chart. And, you might go, woohoo, great. If I hover over, it gives me that. It's not going to blow your mind, but that's a new feature. It's actually pretty cool. And I can change the color of it. Again, also not going to blow your mind, but it's just, they're really trying to bring value into the platform. So I could go on and start engaging with this. I had a whole script I was going to follow where I was going to say, hey, give me some advice on how to get more of my order placed up front. If a lot of my orders are split over phases, I'm trying to bring cash flow in early. And I had a whole script that, and ChatGPT will literally look at the data, give you analysis and say, here's what you should do if you're trying to improve cash flow. It's just a fantastic way to start engaging with data in a real life, real value scenario. For the sake of time, unfortunately, I'm not going to go through that little script, but happy to chat with you about that online after using either this synthetic data or some real life scenario that you might have. Okay, I'm excited about next, which is advanced. So, oh, sorry, before we leave intermediate, I want to give you an example that I also use quite regularly for ChatGPT data sets, and that's cleanup. Here's a scenario that a real life scenario. I have a dashboard that I present, and some of the customers' data was not cleaned. The manufacturer were a whole bunch of them were in a generic manufacturer. A whole bunch of the products were in a miscellaneous category. So I can't, a user of this can't make good decisions. Here's my top 10 manufacturers quoted. Well, we quote a whole bunch of generic manufacturers. That's not helpful. So the data wasn't clean. And so what I did was I brought it into ChatGPT, gave it the categories that it is allowed to apply. I used the web search feature and I said, go online and look up each of these model numbers, find that model numbers, that product's website, read through the site, and if you see a word that is on the list of possible categories over here on the right, then assign that new category to it. It went through over 15,000 records in less than 10 minutes. It took a bit of back and forth, probably 3 or 4 times back and forth just to clean up a few things. But there, I just took what a human, a person, we did this in the past. It took a day and a half to do this manually. I did it in less than 10 minutes. So just a super great use case for that. So review. Benefits are twofold: instant visualization of your data points and gain clarity on what data is missing, old, or needs fixing. Some may debate this, but I think it's pretty generically or pretty universally accepted that data hygiene is the biggest hindrance to effective analysis. It's hard to make decisions on data that has gaps, that's missing information, that's all lumped together in a big generic category, et cetera. AI can help you understand that, and it'll help you not sometimes it can't do some of the fixing. A human has to be involved, but it will certainly help you analyze what's wrong. So to me, that's the winner. And I'm open. I'd love to hear what you think this sort of analysis would be valuable for you in the chat. Okay, now we get to go advanced. So I'm going to try and keep this under 10 minutes just so there's a little bit of time for live questions if possible, or at least answering some of the chat questions. Let's take a look over here at the left, that little toolbox. Here's some of the advanced features. I'm not going to talk about the picture creation. We already talked about the web search. I don't know why that's in there twice. We're going to talk about the Canvas capabilities, and we're going to talk about the reasoning model. And then after that, we're going to look at some of the custom GPTs, and we're going to look at the new feature of projects inside ChatGPT. So one at a time. Canvas. What is Canvas? So if I ask this question, help me write a proposal to my plumbing contractor customers that provides extended payment terms in exchange for purchase volume, I would get an answer in ChatGPT. But then if I had to edit it, it's going to give me it'll rewrite the whole thing. And 4 or 5 iterations later, I've got to scroll up and down the page and kind of lose track of things. Canvas was designed to put everything on sort of an editing screen and work with the document right inside the screen. So let's take a look at that. So I'm going to go here to Canvas, and I am going to say, help me write a proposal to my plumbing subcontractor customers that provides them with a program of extended payment terms in exchange for purchase volume. Here we go. It's going to start out normally, and then boom, watch. In about 3 seconds, it's going to go, oh, you asked me to do this in the canvas? Sure, here we go. I'm going to give you this in a single screen on the right-hand side with the chat on the left. And that might not be revolutionary to people, but hang tight, let it finish its exercise, and I'll show you some of the really cool features that you can use this for. Almost done. Done. Okay, see this little edit bar on the right-hand bottom right? I can adjust the length. Maybe this is not wordy enough. Maybe it's too wordy. I can make it longer, with more sophisticated. For the sake of time, I'm not going to go and rewrite it all the way, but I can make it shorter. That is a unbelievably handy feature. I can add reading levels, right? If you wanna make things a little more sophisticated in the language choices and the sentence structure, it's going to do that. If you want to have some fun, you can go all the way down here to kindergarten. And again, I'm not going to push the button because we're a little bit low on time, but it's actually quite fun to play with this. And I'll tell you, I have learned, I wrote a prompt just yesterday where most results out of ChatGPT and other large language models are best if you write it from the perspective of a 10 to 15-year-old. And that's not to insult anyone's intelligence. It just means it's articulated simply without any superfluous information or things that are complicating the process. This is an absolutely game changer when it comes to writing. If you're already good at writing, you're going to love it. If you don't feel you're very strong in writing, you're going to love it even more. And then last but not least, you can add emojis, you can add a little bit of polish, and your document is now rewritten without having to leave the screen. So let me give you a quick example of that. I'm going to go here and I'm going to say, I can grab this and say, can you add another tier to the plan below, which is over $250,000, we get 90-day payment terms? So watch what happens. It doesn't rewrite the whole thing. It doesn't push you down to the next level of chat, which is scroll, 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 scroll. It just works inside the canvas on that document only. So it missed something here. I could delete all that, but that's fine. I can go down here, and when I'm good with it, I can just copy and paste it, move on, and I've got in 3 to 5 minutes, I've got an entire document that is ready to go. Now, what did I want to do with this? Okay, I'm going to stop this. I'm going to do one more new chat. I want to actually now, again, for the sake of time, I'm going to show you the reasoning model. And reasoning is just really if you need to do complex business cases and you need to think of something and then use the output of that thought process for another thought process. It's sometimes called chain of thought, which is irrelevant to maybe to most people, but it's just the concept of reasoning. If I come to this conclusion, but it's not the full answer, I need to use that conclusion to come to a second conclusion or a third conclusion. So you'll get the copy of these slides. We don't have to read through all this. But it will do that super effectively. So if I come in here and I'm going to copy and paste that as opposed to speak this because it's a little bit longer. So one moment, I'm going to copy and paste. And, my bad. I forgot to change the model. Sorry, let me redo that. I'm going to change the model up here to advanced reasoning. So if you didn't see that, O1 uses advanced reasoning. O1 mini is just a little bit faster at doing that. But let's put that in here and let us redo that with the O1 model. So you'll see it's going to look a little bit different. It's thinking, it's analyzing the question, it's thinking of the various concepts that need to be brought into the equation and to the answer. And hopefully it doesn't think for too long. It's formulating a business case, synthesizing that, making some projections, going to map out the analysis. And momentarily, here we go. Here's the business case, the executive summary, the current state of your Kohler line. That was part of the question. What about my private label? Here's the objectives of my private label. Here's some of the costs. So again, you can use the reasoning model when you have some deeper analysis that needs to be done. I'm going to just stop it for the sake of time, and then let's go back to the next step, projects and tasks. So this we can do real quick, but it's really fun actually. Projects is just a way to group your chats. If some of you have used this for a while, you're like, oh my gosh, I have like hundreds of dozens, if not hundreds of chats on the left-hand side. And yes, you can search for your chats, but there's no way to group them up. Projects just allows you to do that. You can have things like internal projects, external bids, personal priorities. I'm going to show you some of the ones that I use. And then a task, I showed you that earlier, so I'm not going to go into it. It really does have some limited value today because you have to use a separate model. You got to make sure you open that model up. But that's just a precursor. It's in beta. It's just a precursor to the fact that OpenAI is really trying to make their platform useful to your day and to helping you do things like task management. So it's a smart move on their part. At the moment, just a bit limiting. Okay, projects. So let me scroll back here real quick. So over here, you see on my project screen, if I've got a West Side High School project, and in there I've got a project file. You can put multiple files in there. I've got some instructions. This one's super simple, but I can now chat inside this project, and it's only going to be related to this project. I also use it for a routine. I have a routine. This is a sample one. This is my personal one, but I'm going to show you a sample one. I've given it some instructions. When I say start sample daily routine, I'd like you to do the following. I'd like you to look at what time it is in the day, and then ask me a bunch of questions that are in this project file, which I won't open right now. But I could just say, hey, start my sample daily routine. So I just gave it that sort of prompt that kicks it off. You don't have to do that, but it's just a really cool way to do it. So it's now going through the document that I had in the knowledge base, and it's saying, okay, great, let's start your morning. What's your top priority for today? Personal and professional life. How can you approach it with focus? So I can engage with that, and it's going to ask me 4 or 5 questions. It's going to give me a summary. I've asked it to give me a inspirational quote at the end of it. It's just a great way to maybe do some personal development work. I do that with my own daily routine with a different script behind it. Here's a fun thing that I've been testing, and I actually really like it. This is my naming convention, by the way, Chat CRM. That is not an official title by any stretch. It's just a little assistant that is related to CRM. So let me show you how I use this. So start Chat CRM. So I've instructed it to go in and take a look at my priorities that I've given it and remind me of what needs to happen. And oh, I know what I did wrong. So this is an interesting thing. So if you don't, I'm going to type it as opposed to speak it. If you don't say exactly what you've instructed it to do, it won't follow your instructions. So if I give it the exact thing, it should give me the output I'm looking for. And it should give me tasks for today and things that are outstanding and remind me to do a few things. It is not working. So I'm just going to go back to one of my previous chats. So I apologize for that. I don't know why. This is what it should have given me. Critical bids, pending bids, action items, follow up. And then I can literally just engage with it. And I said, hey, the school project bid request is back on track and requires me to call so-and-so. Oh, great, I got it. So then it'll put that into the memory, and at the moment it says it's scheduled a call. It doesn't really do that yet, but it's coming, and so on. So this is just a really fun way to keep track of, especially if you're on the road a lot. What do I got coming up? What do I got to do today? Just go into your projects, give it a little prompt, and it'll follow the instructions. I'm happy to share some of the instructions with you if you reach out to me. Okay. Moving along. Custom GPTs. Interesting. We need to spend a minute on this because this is actually what I would say is a bit overlooked about ChatGPT, because what is a custom GPT? Think of this as, if you read any news around AI, you're going to hear the words about agents, an AI agent, an AI robot, or a small use case agent, or agentic AI is another phrase. Like ChatGPT's custom GPTs were the precursor to agents. And all it is get instructions that are narrowed down to a specific function. And yes, you can tie it into some pretty awesome technical capabilities in the back end. We're not going to cover that today for time reasons, but I just giving you an example here. I went into a custom GPT, I searched for HVAC, and I found at the top, here's somebody, I don't know this person, but they created an HVAC assistant, which is a technician field support, and it has over 5,000 users. So look for that, right? If you get some that are only one use, it's probably somebody just playing around. It's not worth working on it. But I would encourage you to load your own. Connect it to your own internal documents. There's a place under custom GPTs for you to do that. And if you want to get super technical, go to cookbook.openai.com. And there are all sorts of connection points on there. You can have ChatGPT do things like summarize your day from your calendar and send you a note or talk to you about it. You can have ChatGPT take the output of a chat and email it to somebody. So these sorts of things, this is what I was referring to when I said at the very beginning that this is one of the things that if you did this and you did a lot of the technical setup right now, this will be out of date probably within 2-3 months. I know ChatGPT is working to get this much easier to use. So I want to show you one other use case that I actually really like. I built this simple, pardon me, yeah, it's over here. I built this simple custom GPT called Leadership Coach. By the way, here's where you go and explore GPTs, and that's the one where I typed in HVAC. I'm going to go to my leadership coach. I built this. So this is really fun because what I did is I trained it on a bunch of books that I really like about leadership. And then I built questions that are prompts for me or for anybody who uses it from, I think I made this public. If not, let me know. I'll check it. But, here's an example. I pre-built this question, but it's going to go back and look at the question in the context of the authors that I asked it to respond on behalf of, or in the voice of those authors. And so it's now looking at that, and it's going to give me an answer. Some of these authors, doesn't matter. We can chat about your favorite authors, my favorite authors. That's not the point. The point is that I can get advice from books now using ChatGPT. And I want to use an interesting example. So this is giving me a pretty detailed answer to help me dig deep in understanding my margins. Use Chris Voss to negotiate better margins. So it's going through, it's looking at it from the perspective of Chris Voss. And I was going to ask it to then create an email to my team saying, we're going to do some margin analysis. Please prepare certain documents. Here, I'll do this real quick. We won't maybe go through all of it, but if I was to read that and go, oh, this is great. I'm inspired as a leader. I now need to do something with this. So I could say, hey, can you write an email to the branch managers that we're going to start a margin analysis project on March 1st, and we need data from the current margin by customer and by category and by project. Please have them send that to me by February 20th. So it's going to go in, and I'm not sure if it's going to automatically use the Canvas feature, but it will certainly write an email in context of what is above. And maybe in an email it doesn't use Canvas, but if I asked it to write a letter or a proposal, then it would automatically switch into the Canvas mode, which is awesome. So again, super simple, didn't need a Canvas mode. It just gave me an email. I could copy and paste that over into my email, and off we go. In the future, you will absolutely, I can almost be assured that I would be able to literally take this and say, send it to these people, and it will get there. We're just not quite there yet in terms of the technology. Okay. Let's review the advanced. Canvas. It is absolutely, to me, the winner. Super practical, helps you write and finalize documents. Reasoning capabilities are fantastic in terms of doing so a little more complex. I love the projects and tasks and custom GPTs, but I had to pick 2 or 3. So there's just a lot of value in the advanced features of GPT, and we could spend a whole hour on diving into some of those. Okay, we're almost done. And so I just want to review part 1. Use it. Ask it for advice. If you don't know how to use it, ask it it should be used, and then use the read aloud function. Use it for helping with Excel formulas. You'll love it. In the intermediate category, start doing analytics. Ask for things about profitability. If it doesn't find data points in the data that you upload to it, it will tell you. And then you got to go back and find that data and align it and make sure that it can get you the result that you want. It's just a super fantastic tool to be able to do that quickly. In the chat, advanced functionality, use the Canvas, build some documents, organize your chats using projects, build a custom GPT, get familiar, try 1 or 2 of them out, and get ready, because that's sort of the precursor to the concept of an AI agent. Okay, we do not have 15 minutes for part 2. So I'm going to blow through this pretty quickly. But before I do that, are there any, I'm just opening chat, nothing in the chat, and that's fine. So let's keep going. Let me know in the chat if there's any, I do have it open, by the way. If there's anything you can't hear or see, please let me know. Here's a couple of tools. There are so many tools. I had a hard time limiting them down, but there's a couple that you could consider. Voice notes. Capture your note. You're in the field, you have a meeting, you don't want to type it into your computer, open up your laptop, or you don't want to type on a phone. Just open it up, push the button. It hears your voice. AI transcribes it. It extracts the tasks and allows you to send an email. I have this awesome little tool. It's maybe hard to see. It's actually, I think I have the website open over here. I use this little tool here, Plod Pin. It's absolutely fantastic. Here is an output. I used Plod, so I talked about this webinar into my little Plod Pin, and it analyzed it, and it generated a transcript, and then it generated a mind map, and it summarized everything by mind map. Okay, what's my introduction? What am I going to talk about to you guys? I'm going to talk about agents and automation, and then, oh, here's some action items I got to do. Like, this is so valuable to me. I hope you guys also can find some value in that. But then the other thing here, this voice notes feature, like, I can go in and, hey, I just had a meeting with John Smith over at TDP, and he's asked me to send him the new pricing files for the Haas drinking fountains, because they have a high school project that is due tomorrow at 5 p.m. and I need to get that to him today. Can you also send Bill over at Everflow a $10 gift card. Actually, no, make that a $20 gift card because he really helped me out on that project last week. It records that, summarizes it. I intentionally changed the gift card from $10 to $20 because I wanted to show you how straight transcription would not do anything with that. AI will correct that. It's going to say, send a $20 gift card, not a $10. Oops, no, sorry, I mean a $20. So it's going to collect all that information. It's going to give me some tasks to do. I can send them to myself. I can send them to other recipients, or I can even go in here and say something like, can you send an email to John Smith about the Haas drinking fountains and just ask him to send me some value engineering options? So it'll take that, it'll draft an email for me. Could I have written that myself? Yes. Is this handy? Yes. Yeah, I can send that to myself. I can copy it and paste it, etc. And then I can, heck, I can even send this to my CRM at the moment. I just happen to use Notion. We're not going to go into that in any great detail today, but here's an example. It just sent me here's all my tasks. So it'll send me all those tasks. What were my tasks? We don't have time to dive into this too deep. But it'll send me my tasks. I can move them around. This one's in progress. I can see my tasks by status. I can see my daily priorities, the projects I'm working on. I can even go down here and track call notes. These all come across. There it is. There's the one from Haas Drinking Fountains. It has all that information. I didn't type anything. I just spoke it. It put it right into the system. And then I go back here and new meeting and I'm off to the races. So what's next? I would be remiss if I didn't talk about ATS software. My employer, we have an AI quoting platform that extracts products from specs and drawings, creates a quote in about 60 seconds. It recommends crosses and value engineering options, connects directly to the rep firms to get pricing from them. It is a tool that is second to none in the industry. I may be a little biased, but here it is. Here's a quote, just so you can see where that came from. Here's a set of plans that ran through the AI. It picked up all the items in green, and it then generated a quote. You'll notice here that American Standard Toilet was specified, and the AI picked that up. I crossed it to a Kohler. I can give it a thumbs up. If I don't like that cross, I can just go into this cross-reference tool. It's going to bring the number over, and maybe I want to do a Zern or a Toto and put that back in there and give that one a thumbs up. So it generates the spec, or pardon me, the quote really quickly. The quote output is then here. You can do images, no images. You can link to files, hyperlinks. And last but not least, this is a real project, actually. It generated a 184-page shop submittal package in about 60 seconds with all the products highlighted so that I can send that off to the engineer. What else? I would highly recommend you take a look at things like Relay app, Make.com, Zapier. I use Relay app every time I finish a meeting internally. Even though I used Fireflies, which has AI built into it, it goes through Relay. It assigns the tasks to people. I've given it some prompts to do that and puts them in my calendar. So it's absolutely fantastic. This is only going to get better over time. Last but certainly not least, take a look at things like Notion. I showed you that a second ago. Take a look at things like Max AI. If you want to see this little button here on the right, this is Max AI. If you go to maxai.com, you can just subscribe to it. It gives you access to all the models. I can chat with this page. I can summarize this page. I can do a screenshot and chat with that. Everything. This is embedded AI. This is so cool. It's just moving in the direction of, I don't have to go over to the tab that has OpenAI open. or ChatGPT open. It's just in my model. It has some limitations because it's a third party, but it is just a super convenient way to make use of AI on a regular basis. Okay, we're down to the last few minutes. I have to do a shout out to Google. This is one of my favorite AI apps at the moment. If you've never heard of Notebook LM, I would highly recommend you go notebooklm.google.com. It allows you to build that knowledge base. Remember point number 2, start collecting your things, put it into Notebook LM. Why? Because you can chat with your product sheet, you can chat with your price list, you can do employee handbooks, all sorts of things. I have to show you this feature that is just mind-numbingly fantastic. Where did I put it? I'm sorry, it's eluded me. And therefore I cannot show it to you because I don't know where I put it. So for the sake of time, oh, here it is. I do want to show you this. It's one of my favorite tools. So I uploaded, when you land on ChatGPT or Notebook LM, it's like this. You build little notebooks and you put stuff in it. I built a notebook with our quoting tool. I gave it our websites. I gave it some announcements from our website. I pasted a webinar that I did on this. I pasted the transcript in there. It collects it all. I can chat with it. I can do a summary. I can get a timeline. But if you haven't seen this, maybe this is just me geeking out over the fact that I
or HVAC.
I created a podcast. I didn't do anything. I clicked a button. It looks at all your data and it creates a podcast with 2 speakers talking about what's in the content.
Right.
Getting those quotes out fast and accurate is like absolutely essential.
Yeah, definitely.
What if AI could help you win more bids and like see?
And then here's the newest thing that just came out about a month ago. I can talk to these robots. Listen.
Right. So let's dive into AI and construction.
Okay.
Specific. Oh, hey there. How can we help?
Hey, I got a question. Before you go into it, who do I reach out to at ATS Software if I have questions about AutoQuote?
Okay, that's a great question, and it's really important.
Yeah, it is. So you're wondering like who to contact for more info about ATS Auto.
Call me crazy, but that is unbelievable. And that is just a taste of what's to come. All right. I promised that we would talk a little bit about email, AI in email. This is sort of the next generation of interactivity, and we're down to 2 minutes. Go ahead, use Microsoft Copilot. It's great. It summarizes your email. It does generation of email. Use Google Gemini. It gives a little bit of contextual replies, which is kind of cool. Use ChatGPT with copy and paste. But where's this going? The voice notes thing that I showed you, it creates an email giving the context of the meetings above. Use things like webhooks. If you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. Reach out to me. But it can monitor an inbox, and it can then send multiple tasks to multiple AI agents to take action on the things that it reads in that email. And if you want to get into the things in the future, this is what I envision this being very not too far into the future. Imagine AI being able to review procurement history from one of your customers, look for the patterns, and proactively create an email that informs them of certain things that you want them to be aware of. It just the opportunities are limited at the moment, mostly by your imagination. Although, as this gets better, it's going to be even faster. A quick tip. Large software vendors tend to build for the masses. Look for unique distribution-specific options if that's of interest to you. What is an AI agent? We don't have time to go over this. The graphic, I think, speaks for itself. You get inbound requests. The agent looks at it. It classifies it into certain things and sends it off to, oh, here's an order processing component. There's an invoice processing component. There's a response requirement. That's what an AI agent does. Consolidates, looks, sends off the tasks to each little agent. I'm going to skip over this because it's just ideas of where this stuff can be used, and we are out of time. There we are. 1 minute to go. Bree, I'm happy to take a question or two. Otherwise, I will stop sharing and you can wrap up.
Thank you, Graham. It looks like we do have one question saying that they could not find the leadership GPT. If you could send that. I do have their email. I could always send that to you if you want to send it via email, or I'm not sure how you would like to go about that, or if it's a slide.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll look at that.
Perfect. I will get that sent to you then. But I think that was the only question. Oh, it looks like we have one more. Just a comment saying this was excellent. Thank you very much. We love the good feedback. So, I think that's about it. So thank you, Graham. If anybody does have any other additional questions, you can always email Graham or myself, and then we will see you guys next time. So thank you.